Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing. It's time for the World Series Round 3 in China. Well, I say it's time. We are going to hang on just a few moments. Obviously, we've got a couple of minutes until it's past anyway. But we are going to hang on just a few moments anyway, as one of our drivers is just doing a quick update on his vehicle. Okay, I mean PlayStation, but I'm going to say vehicle. I'm Front Row Racing DP, otherwise known as Dave Lays in Beds. I've not laid in there much today because it was a bit too cold, so I had to get up. And joining me in the commentary box today is Front Row Racing RI. How are you this evening, Ray?
I'm very well.
Good.
Not bad. How's yourself?
I'll be alright. I'm alright. Now, like I say, we've got a couple of moments until we're really ready to go. So I'll just quickly go through the drivers we have this evening. Because there is a couple of, there's one change at least. In Killer Acorn Mercedes AMG, there's been a little bit of a change with Killer Corkin moving up to the World Championship and Dave the Harp moving into the World Series. So Dave the Harp now a permanent driver in the World Series for the Mercedes team. In Underdog Racing Red Bull, we have Ant69 and Adam 4600. It'll be very interesting to see how those two get on this evening. Then we've got Victoria's Secret Williams Racing, Hybrid Nuke and Hindle. Locked out the front row of the grid in qualifying last week. Will be very interesting to see if they're able to do exactly the same again here in China. Then we've got Midlands Madness, Scuderia Ferrari, Front Row Racing GP and My Bad 66. Two drivers who have had very mixed races so far this season. But Front Row Racing GP currently leading the constructors' standings. Now, we have a reserve driver in, Millstar. He's in as a reserve for Rickster, or last week known as Mr. Biscuit, in McCharles McLaren Honda. So Millstar's in as a reserve, along with Charlie JBWC09, who is obviously the permanent driver there. Sahara Force India, we've got the commentary team. And if we look down at Godolphin Sauber, that's Richie Davey and Andy Russell. I think Richie Davey will be hoping he has a slightly better race than he's had in the opening two rounds of the season. Then for Night Farth, we've got Farthba in the Mana Marussia, and we're just waiting for Front Row Racing NW to complete his update. So Ray, if you want to just quickly check whether he's managed to load his car up yet, and send him about another 20 invites just to really start panicking him. Well, while Ray is doing that, I'm just going to have a quick look. I can't show the viewers, but I can talk about it. About the confirmed race result from Malaysia. Now, on the day, Acorn 95 took victory, and if you were watching, you would have seen that on the broadcast view, we couldn't view him. Thankfully, the drivers, they all could see him. We've had a bit of a look at why it may have been, try and see if we can do some new things to help out. But unfortunately for Acorn, there was no race footage from him. So a disqualification has come his way for having no race footage. It was very, very disappointing. But what that does mean is that the winner in Malaysia posthumously was Hybrid Nuke for Victoria's Secret. In second place from Row Racing GP for Midlands Madness. In third place was Killer Acorn, but he's now moved to the World Championship. In fourth was Hindle. Fifth was Richie Davey with his teammate behind him in sixth for Godolphin Sauber. In seventh was Adam 4600. Eighth was Ant 69, two teammates together again. In ninth was My Bad for Midlands Madness. And then we had Rickster, who didn't finish. Farthba and Charlie also received DSQs for no race footage. Hybrid Nuke received Driver of the Day last week for a very, very good drive. And Team of the Day, I believe, went to Victoria's Secret Williams Racing. So the Williams pairing did very, very well last week. But for the Drivers' Championship, what that means is that Front Row Racing GP is leading the standings on 43 points. Killer Corkin was in second place on 30 points, but it now means that Hybrid Nuke is in second place on 25 points. With Hindle in third on 24, Acorn in fourth on 18, Adam 4600 in 5th on 16 points, and Richie Davey in 6th on 10 points. Andy Russell's following him in 7th place on 8 points, joined on the same amount by MyBad66. Then Ant69's got 4 points, and then we've got Charlie, Farfba, Front Racing NW, and Rickster all on 0. Midlands Madness, Ferrari, they're leading the Constructors' Championship. They're on 51 points. They're leading the Victoria's Secret Williams Racing Team by 2 points, and leading the Killer Acorn team by 48 points, by 3 points. They're on 48 points. So it'll be interesting to see how Dave the Harp takes over from Killer Acorn, from Killer Corkin even. In 4th place in the standings, we've got Underdog Racing, Red Bull on 20 points, then Godolphin Sauber on 18 points, and McCharles McLaren Honda on 8 points, with Night Farf Mana Marusha on 0 points, which is a surprise, considering that Paul, for a lot of last season, was looking like being a title contender. Okay, Ray, do we have any information from Nightwalker at the moment?
1 minute for Nightwalker is what I've been told. I think his system's just reloading because he's went offline.
Okay.
So hopefully that is. I'll just check the chat, admin chat. See.
It's alright. We'll give him another moment or two. We do want to get going as close to 7:30 as possible, but I don't mind hanging on a little bit for Nightwalker, because given what he's gone through lately, it's not surprising that he's not been able to get on to get the update done. Although,
he's on his Adam Lane now.
That means he's turned on his PlayStation and gone onto the wrong account. That's going to go off momentarily. He's then going to come back onto his other account. Hurry up, Adam. Hurry up, Adam. Everyone send Adam loads of messages. Send him loads of messages, loads of abuse.
I've sent him one to both accounts, so you can get in either way.
Okay.
We'll know who he is, but just the viewers might not. But Adam
is Nightwalker.
Nightwalker.
Well, okay. A little bit of information then about the circuit here. The Shanghai International Circuit. It's a tyre eater, and he is in. He's in. We're ready to go. He's on his other account. He's in as Nightwalker. He's probably panicked, but let's go. Let's go racing. This circuit is an absolute tyre eater, but I would not be surprised if we have some wet weather. I could see it happening. But if I'm honest, I'd actually like to see a dry race here. What about you? What would you prefer, Ray? Would you like to see the mayhem of wetness, or just let them go at it in the dry?
Nah, I'd like to see the mayhem of wetness.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what is going to come our way.
Because last night's race was great. Well, maybe not for you, but it was for others.
No comment. Okay, it's time then for the Front Row Racing World Series Round 3 in China. Yes. And it's raining. Ray's wishes have been granted. For the drivers, though, I don't think they're going to be overly keen on this one. Now, something that we may have to discuss a little bit, Ray, is obviously the FIA have brought a stricter ruling to the circuit this week, and some of the drivers on occasion might find themselves going off the track a little bit in slippery conditions. That could mean in the qualifying session, if they're not keeping their car on the track, they could quite easily end up with their laps not counting. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that on the timing screen. Now, the weather forecast I'm seeing is a wet start with the potential for showers throughout. Track temperature's only 28 degrees. That's really, really low. What's your weather station telling you, Ray?
The exact same.
The
could be changeable conditions, which should be making an interesting qualifying race.
It could make for a very, very interesting qualifying. Okay, let's have a quick look. We've got Acorn, he's out on track. He's going to be one to keep an eye on. More than likely, potential pole sitters around this circuit could be the likes of Acorn 95. Richie Davies got a chance, he's fairly good in the wet. Hybrid Nuke, Hindle, Front Row Racing GP, they've all got a fairly good possibility. Now, what lap times they're going to get in these wet conditions, we have no idea. But what Ray can tell us is what the qualifying lap time was from the World Series race here last season.
The qualifying lap time was from Richard Davey, and it was a 1 minute 37.509.
So a 1:37.509, that would have been a dry time. So for qualifying here, I've got a feeling we're probably going to be looking at potentially 42s, 43s. But it'll be very, very interesting to see who can get those laps in. Now Richie Davey, he's just approaching the final corner at the moment, and seeing as he did get the fastest lap in qualifying last season, we'll follow him for a portion and see how he gets on. Perhaps a little cautious through the final corner, but making sure he gets off to a good start to the lap. And then we're into the awfully tricky turn one as the car just comes out the pit lane, and I think there may have been a little bit of contact there. I think that might have been Charlie, I'm not so sure, but there was definitely a car coming out as Richie was approaching in the first corner. Now he's got plenty of time to keep going, but it could have compromised his first sector here, and it's probably given Charlie a little bit of a shock. So it's a 28.7 sector 1. Let's just have a quick look. Let's see what other sector 1s people have set.
Millstar's just behind him with a 28.6.
Yep, so Millstar's a little bit faster in sector 1. Andy Russell's not set a sector 1 time yet, neither has anybody else, so we'll get back to Richie Davey if we can. There we go. So he's just heading up to the end of sector 2 now, and it's a benchmark time of a 31.7 in sector 2. Now
Millstars went faster at 31.6.
So
Millstars behind him on track.
Oh, sorry, Richie's just gone wide. Richie's just gone wide. That may be his lap over, but you've mentioned that Millstar's going faster. So let's go and find him. Hindle's just started a lap. Acorn's on a lap. He's half a second faster in sector 2, you know. I think he's quite a lot down in sector 1, but he's up a lot in sector 2. Yeah, I mean, he's a second and a half down in sector 1. Millstar, 28.6, 31.6. What's his final sector going to be? He's had a reserve drive before. This is his second one. Heading up towards the line, very sideways initially, and it's a 44.1. Now what's Adam 4600 pulling off the track. My bad, just approaching the final corner. 29.2 sector 1, 31.4 sector 2. Oh, he's ran wide at the final corner though. That could be his lap invalidated. So 43.9, it's actually put in pole position. Millstar, he's in second place. Now where did Acorn go? Because he was on a lap. Although Front Row Racing GP, he's got a very good sector 1 time, a 28.3. Oh, he's gone very, very deep at the hairpin though. It's 31.6 sector 2. He would have not wanted to go deep at the hairpin like he has. That's going to have cost him on this particular lap, but the lap times could tumble and tumble and tumble as the intermediate tyres warm up. It's a 44.0 for Front Row Racing GP. And Millstar's gone on for another lap, but he's down in sector 1. Andy Russell, he's just making his way into turn 1, currently in 5th place. 29.4, 32.3, 44.6. Go on, Ray, what have you spotted?
Hindles went first with a 142.0, and then Hybrid Nuke a 142.4. So they're down to your times, you were saying, a 142.
142. Now Hindle's got his teammate ahead of him. Is Hindle going on for another lap? It doesn't look like it, but it looks like Hybrid Nuke, he is continuing on. Sector 1 of a 28.3, is he up on it? He is. It's a 28.2. Now I think Hindle
it's drying up.
Oh. Now, usually you're not too far off on your weather predictions, Ray. There is a little bit of a dry line appearing around the corners of turns 7 and 8, but I don't think it's dry. Well, it's not dry enough for dry tyres. If they can get an intermediate time down to a sort of a 1:41, then they could go to the dries. But Hybrid Nuke's really pushing it, getting the rear end of the car out. What's that sector 2 time? A 31.1. I'm not sure if he's up on his own personal best. It almost sounds like he's backed out of it. Either that, he's just going very, very cautious around the long right-hander and heading onto the back straight. Quick look at the timing screen. He's not purples. Hindle's got the purples. He's 30.9 in sector 2. A 30.9, so Hybrid Nuke's 2/10 off him in that sector alone. Needs a good final sector. And I tell you what, it's looking a little bit sunnier down at the hairpin, you know, Ray. I think you may be right that it could be just a little bit easing off on the rain. And Hybrid Nuke, he's opted to go for the pits. Dave the Harp, though, he's got himself up to third place. He's on for another lap, but I don't think it's going to be a particularly quick one. 28.7 sector 1. Is that faster than what he's done before? No, he's 3/10 down. Okay, Millstart sat in 4th. 28.6 sector 1. 31.4 sector 2. A little bit faster than what he had previously. He may be able to improve slightly if he can have a good final sector. I'm surprised that Acorn hasn't gone and popped himself higher up on the grid yet, but we'll go and try and find him in a moment as Millstar comes around the final corner. Very tricky corner in these slippery conditions, and it's going to be a 1:43.9, still 4th place. Okay, let's see if we can go and find Acorn. See if Acorn is out on track. Charlie is... There's quite a few cars heading up to the final corner.
It's quite bright there. I think it's dry.
Okay, Acorn, he's on a lap now. He's just approaching the end of sector 1. So low 28s is what he's looking for. A 28.1 is what he's achieved so far. Car ahead, moving out of the way. It looked like a McLaren, I think. I could be wrong, but it did look like one. So sector 2 time, he needs to be looking at the 30s to try and attack Hindle's lap time. Now you say it's getting drier, Ray. Do you reckon any of these guys with 9 minutes to go are going to be able to get out in this qualifying session with a set of dry tyres towards the end?
I think they could.
I tell you what, if they can, if someone does it and they time it right, they will. I mean, there is a dry line appearing as well around the long right-hander. If a driver can time it absolutely spot on and others are on inters, they'll get pole position. This is one of those sessions where some of your midfield runners have got a real good opportunity if they can make a call over the guys that are out there. Oh, Acorn's gone deep, very deep at the hairpin. That may be lap over, I'm not so sure. He's going to continue on by the looks of it into the final corner. His sector 2 was pretty good, but what's his overall lap time going to be? It's a 42.5. It's only good enough for 3rd place. He is going to be gutted about going deep at the hairpin. Millstar's into the pits. Charlie's approaching the final hairpin. It's a new style of corner, that. It's one of those where it's a hairpin, but it's got a chicane in the middle of it, and he's heading into the pits. Andy Russell coming around the long right-hander, 34.3 sector 1. He's losing a lot of time in that first sector. Oh, there's a lot of understeer in that car in these conditions. Trying to get the right-hander, and the front end just didn't want to point where he wanted it to. It almost looks like he's weaved a little bit to get a little bit of temperature up there. But I think he's right. I mean, you think it may be drying up a little bit. It could be, but I think it is still quite wet down at the hairpin. Although it looks like there's a little bit of a dry line, I do think it is a little bit too wet for anyone to really sort of gamble the dry tyre. Adam 4600, he's had a 29.7 sector 1, a 33.0 sector 2. Not magnificently fast at the moment, but he could just be winding himself up. Thing to keep an eye on, Ray. Keep an eye on those guys that have just been pitting recently. See if they're just going to sit there and wait and put another set of Inters on, or gamble a set of dry tyres, because it'll only take for one person to gamble it and others to go, it ain't working, or Adam's into the pits, or for them to see them out on the dry tyre and go, right, okay, I'm going for it as well. Although, I tell you what we could do, and I will do, we'll go and have a look at the delta times. Are we getting dry enough?
Intermediate tyres are your best
No,
bet in the
it's not getting dry enough. I don't think we're going to be seeing any dry tyres in this qualifying session. So, quick look at the timing screen then. Hindle, provisional pole position with 6 minutes to go on a 42.0, nearly half a second ahead of his teammate. Acorn in third place, Dave the Heart 4th, Farfbert in 5th, Millstar in 6th, Charlie 7th, My Bad in 8th, Richie Davey in 9th, Front Row Racing GP in 10th, he's not going to be pleased about that at the moment, and 69 in 11th, Andy Russell 12th, Nightwalker in 13th, and Adam 4600 in 14th. Well, I'll tell you what, Steve's going to need to get a shifty on well, he's going to have to get a shift on. Farfber, though, I mean, he's sat in 5th place at the moment, and he did win the race on the road last season. I haven't had the time to check what the after stewards inquiries or what have you, what the result was. But, Ray, you do have a little piece of information about Paul's race from last season.
Yeah, he went from 9th, I think it was, up to 1st place in 1 lap.
Yep.
So it was pretty impressive to get past all the cars. 8 cars in 1 lap.
It was a phenomenal lap to get himself from 9th place up to 1st before the hairpin after the long straight. Actually, he was into 1st before getting onto the long straight, I think. But yeah, had a phenomenal start to the race last season. And if he can have a similar sort of start here, he could quite easily find himself going from 5th place to 1st. But Hindle, Hybrid Nuke, they may have something else to say about it. Now, for any of the drivers, if they've got race engineers or the drivers themselves want to get in touch with Ray, they can do. They can send him a message on PSN, whether it be just a little bit of information, whether it be about weather, tyres, grip, messed up a lap, had a great lap, a little bit of information to Ray to help us on the commentary box, because we don't get all bits of information. They are more than welcome to message Ray and let him know, and then we might discuss it, mightn't we, Ray?
Yeah, or even on the live stream. I've got the live stream on beside me as well. So there's your 2 options.
I mean, we have had a little bit of info come our way before the session. Do you want to tell us about the Victoria's Secret Williams pairing?
Well, I tried to speak to Claire Williams, but she wasn't in. She's away on a date with her new commentary, James Hulkenberger. So it's Big Frank, it's there, and he's telling these guys not to fight at the start and try and pull away. So it'll be interesting to see when Big Frank puts his finger down and says, right, on you's go and have a fight, lads. But they're worried about GP, but at this moment in time, whereas GP down in 10th, I wouldn't be worrying about him.
No, that's true. I think the message from the Williams pit, well, from the pit wall, is going to be, don't you worry about from a racing GP, because at the moment he's down in 10th place. He is about to start a lap though. So with 3 minutes to go, we're into that realm now of it's time to get your laps in, guys. These are the ones that are really, really going to count. So from a racing GP makes his way into turn 1. I think he may be a little bit too cautious on entry, but he's just trying to make sure he gets into the apex of the corner. Perhaps a little bit of understeer there. Previous best sector of a 28.8, and needs to be looking at low 28s if it's possible. So head down to the next hairpin. It's a 28.5. I don't think it's going to be good enough for pole position, but I suppose at this point, anything up sort of second, third row of the grid would be better than where he may be starting the race at the moment. And one of the things for the drivers, if they've been using up a lot of intermediate tyres in this qualifying session, they're going to have to be careful, because if it rains in the race and they need these intermediate tyres, and they've done a lot of laps in qualifying, they may not have enough tyres. But if the race is dry... Oh, go on. What you got, Ray?
I've had a message from the Marussia garage. Be aware, I'm going to repeat last season.
Oh, so Farfber, he knows what he did here last season. He's ready to repeat it. He obviously knows of a special little bit of circuit that gains you extra places. Okay, for a Racing GP, Sector 2 of a 31.3, and it's not too bad. Needs a good final sector to really get himself up the order. And one more corner to go. He's just looking a very, very cautious lap. It's 5th place for him, though. Now, I heard you go, oh, Ray, a moment ago. So what was the... who's gone and stuck their finger somewhere they shouldn't?
No. Hammer Time 44. I wonder who will win the race. Was he not supposed to be racing?
Well, it's Hammer Time 44 was sent a message earlier today. There was a little bit of a mix-up last night when I was talking to one of the drivers. Effectively, they asked for a reserve without asking for a reserve, so I was sorting it out today. I did send It's Hammer Time a message. I didn't get one back, which is why Millstar is in the McLarens at the moment, and Hindle, he's still on pole position. I'm just having a look to see if anyone is going faster. Acorn 95 has a purple sector 1, but I'm not sure if it was a previous sector. His session's over. He's out of it. Dave the Harp's approaching the final corner. 28.4 sector 1, 31.2 sector 2. It's not bad. I don't think he's going to be able to improve. Really testing the limits of the circuit there, heading up to the finish line. Now, one thing that may have happened during this session, DRS may have been active, may have been deactivated, may not have been active at all, but it's going to be 4th place for Dave, and we're about to go to a different camera angle. Okay, Millstar, he's out on track. Andy Russell's out on track, so is Adam 4600. Let's see, whereabouts is Adam? Adam looks like he's in the middle sector, and I would say that's not looking like a hot lap from him there, but it looked like he was taking it a little bit easy. But annoyingly at this point, we're not going to get any sector times to be able to tell if any of the drivers are improving or not. We've got a Ferrari, that's my bad, ahead of Charlie here. Charlie's got himself up to 5th place, and he's into the pits. For a Racing GP session is over. My bad's up to 9th. Okay, looks like it's Andy Russell is going to be... one of the last to do it! Oh, no, he's not! No, he's not! To see if his car's going to go faster. Facing the wrong direction. He's managed to save it well there, though. There'll be some investigation as to whether that car has got anti-spin mechanism on it. I'll tell you what, though, there's going to be a few drivers in this that are going to be a little bit frustrated, either with themselves, with the conditions, with the setup, with the track, with other drivers perhaps. There's a few drivers that I think are perhaps a little bit out of position. Dave the Harp, he's not on a lap here, and I don't think Andy Russell really is either, but they're both sort of having a bit of a look at each other. I think Dave's just gone for the pits, but Andy's continued on. This may be, he may be up on his lap even with having that moment. I think he may have just actually improved his lap time there. So let's hope he wasn't held up by Dave the Harp there. But that's it. Qualifying session is over. We'll have a look at the timings in a moment. It looks like we've got another Williams lockout. Now, in the World Championship last season, Williams locked out the grid quite a lot, and they're doing it in the World Series this season with 2 different drivers. So, I'll tell you what, Hybrid Nuke, he got close to Hindle's time there. Look at that, 0.067 between them. It's still then close between 3rd, 4th and 5th. But I am surprised. I mean, Farfber is down in 7th. Richie Davey is in the 8th. We could be on for a few drivers hoping that it's dry for this race and hoping that they can have starts like Paul did last season. Because if these guys give Hindle and Hybrid the chance to run away, they're not going to catch them.
No.
No, they're not. Anyway, we're about to go to the circuit. Anyway, we're about to go to the circuit for the Ferrari Racing World Series Round 3 in China. The engineers will be on the grid making their final preparations for the drive. Those preparations will be removing the umbrellas from the cockpits of the cars because we've got a wet start to the race. So the grid order then, as we can see on the screen. Oh, and I think one of the things for the drivers here is going to be the order in qualifying could quite easily be the order throughout the race in these wet conditions. If any of them gambled for a dry setup, it's not going to work for them now. It's an intermediate tyre start. And then we're going to be asking the questions, Ray. Are you going to predict that it's going to go dry?
No, I'm not going to predict anything because I tried to predict.
I reckon it's going to get wet. It's going to go from inters to full wets and then it will dry up. That's my prediction. Predictions for a race winner, I'm not even going to try because we've seen Hindle start a few races, start one at the front and one at the back, and in both of them he's ended up with no front wing at the end of the first lap. So anything could happen here as the lights are on. 4 lights, 5 lights, the revs are rising, and away they go. Now, we'll try and get to the front of the grid and see if we can spot whatever may be happening. The 4-5 wide into the first corner. We've got a McLaren jumping about a little bit. It looks like that could be Charlie. So the drivers are going to have to just be a little bit careful about Charlie. I do know he's got a new camera system on that car, which could be causing him a few problems. The 2 Williams have pulled away. We've got a Mercedes in third.
He's lost it. He's lost it and he's took a Ferrari with him.
Oh, that'll be my bad. Now,
Ferrari's
Richie
kept going, and Red Bull's just overtook my bad.
Okay, Richie's got no front wing. My bad is just ahead of the Mana Marussia Oh, my bad's got no front wing. That's both of those drivers, 2 races in a row, finding each other and finding themselves on their way to the pits for a new front wing. But we've got Hindle leading the race, followed by Hybrid Nuke with Acorn 95. Oh, Mercedes off in the background. Oh, he's done well to just about keep that on the track. As for a Racing GP, I don't know if he went for an overtake or defensive, but he's just had a moment off the track. But he may have spotted Charlie's McLaren jumping about a little bit, but got Andy Russell behind him. Then we've got Dave the Harp and a Red Bull very, very wide. That's Adam 4600. So most of the cars just about fitting on the main straight. As you can see, my bad in the background. Oh, there's a move going on. It's a Mercedes. It's Dave the Harp. He's trying to look a little bit aggressive in these early stages. He's got Andy Russell ahead of him, who's, I'll tell you what, a few of these drivers, you can see the rear ends of the cars just sticking out a little bit. These are tricky conditions. If the drivers were watching last night, the rear end can stick out quite a lot. So for Dave the Harp, he'll be open to try and make some gains as early as possible. Where did Farfba get to? Instead of going forwards, he's gone from 7th to 10th. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear for him. Now,
these Williams are starting to look glued to each other.
Well, they did say before the race that they were kind of going to try and look after their tyres a little bit, not really fight each other, see if they can pull away from the pack, and if they can, then the race is on. So for the 2 Williams boys, I don't think that we'll see them overtaking each other unless Hybrid starts becoming under a lot of pressure from Acorn, who we can actually see at the circuit this week. Obviously, water and the invisibility cloak do not go together. They don't mix at all. Now, what I am trying to keep an eye on is weather is if we are getting more rain, less rain, a dry line coming. Oh, we've got Sauber trying to attack Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp's recently got past. Also to see if the DRS is active. It wouldn't be active anyway yet. We've got to finish this lap. But are the conditions technically dry enough for DRS? So. I tell you what, Andy Russell's got some fantastic straight line speed. Oh, GP, he's gone wide. He's gone deep at the hairpin. I saw him do that in qualifying. He won't want to do it too much here. Dave the Harp still under attack, but so is Adam 4600.
They're getting over the curbs, whereas last night's race, when, well, you'd know yourself, you got in the curb and it spun you.
Yeah, the curbs last night were rather evil, for me at least. Got onto one of them, and having watched it in slow motion, I could see exactly the point that it spun me as Farfber makes a nice move up the inside. He's now on the outside. Oh, bit of contact. Adam 4600's facing the wrong way. Now he's facing the right way and can continue on. Yeah, the curbs are a little bit nasty, but... Oh, Adam, careful, Nightwalker's there, the other Adam's there. Yeah, what I was going to say is these drivers do have the choice...
Ant. Sorry, Ant. Millstar went for a move and he's made the pass.
So Millstar then in the reserve, getting from 10th up to 9. But yeah, what I was going to say was, in the World Series, the drivers are allowed to use assists. So you may find that some of these guys have got traction control on. So they'll be able to use the curbs a lot more. They'll also be able to use their brakes a lot more. So for those drivers you perhaps see going deep at corners, it could just be set up, could just be braking too late. It could be not having ABS on. Because although this is the assists allowed league, you don't have to use them. They're just available if you want to. Now, one thing some of these drivers may want to do, if any of them are not using traction control and they're finding their car is all over the place, when they pit, they could always try seeing if they could flick a little switch that would turn the TC on. Go on, what you got, Ray?
And Russell just missed his braking point and slammed into the back of Dave, but just kept going. GP's in the pits, GP's pitting.
Now, is that for tyres or is that for damage?
It looks like tyres, his front line's still there. Unless end plates on.
I can't see him gambling for a dry set of tyres. It's a very early stop. It is a dry set of tyres. That's a set of option tyres. I would say the track is looking way too wet at the moment for a set of option tyres, but maybe he's going to try and replicate what was done in the World Championship race last night. I would guess the DRS must have been enabled fairly recently, but I tell you what, Ray, you keep an eye on him, because I'm going to keep an eye on the leaders, because Hindle and Hybrid Nuke, they have pulled away now from Acorn. And if the DRS has been activated recently, then it could suggest that the conditions may be dry enough, but I really don't think they are yet.
Has he been listening to Dom?
He may have been. I mean, you mentioned about last night's race. I kind of got proper stitched in last night's race. I had no choice but to pit when I did the first time. I had damage on the car, so I had to gamble the intermediate tyres. It was perhaps a lap too soon, burnt the tyres up, had to pit again, and on the lap that we pitted, the DRS was disabled. So, okay, fine, no problem, the track's getting wetter. I come out of the pits, get round to the end of the lap, DRS enabled, the track's getting drier. Thank you very much. So anyway, Hybrid Nuke and Hindle, they're actually looking a little bit more fighty now. Neither of them going for the pit lane yet. Neither is Acorn 95 by the looks of it. No, he's continuing on. Charlie's still in 4th place, but we've got 5th place, Dave the Harp, 6th place, Andy Russell, being followed by Farfber. Oh, Andy, a little bit on the curb. Farfber, a little bit on the curb. So there is a little bit of action. There's a little bit of sideways action on these curbs. I can't imagine that you're going to tell me, Ray, that Front Row Racing GP is absolutely fine on those slick tyres at the moment.
Nah, he looks as if he's struggling. He's not went deep at the hairpin for once, but through the corners he looks as if he's struggling.
Tell you what to do. Keep an eye on the gap to the leaders. Just don't tell anybody. Oh, Andy Russell, he's pressuring Dave the Harp. Now, Dave qualified in, 4th place, I think it was, as Farfber's gone very, very wide. But he's finding himself in a lot of a battle here with Andy Russell. Andy had a fairly decent race. He's had fairly decent races lately. Definitely seems to be improving, and he's showing Dave the Harp that he's not going to be coming from the World Championship into the World Series and having it anywhere near his own way. Okay, 5 laps into the race.
I don't know. He looks to.
If he's not gaining and he's losing or anything like that, don't tell us. Let's not give any information out like that. I think that would be only fair. Oh, that's true. That's true. Now, I tell you what, Hindle and Hybrid Nuke, a gap had appeared between them. It's just closed up down that straight. I reckon DRS has been enabled, and Hybrid Nuke is really closing in now on his teammate. His teammate even thinking about going defensive, perhaps looking for a little bit of extra water down the straight. But lap 6, they've continued on. Oh, it looks like Hybrid's struggling a little bit on the first part of turn 1. Gets it into turn 2 though. I reckon these guys are just going to go as long as physically possible on these intermediate tyres. There will be a cut-off point, and I tell you what, it does look like the rain is falling a little bit gentler than it was at the start of the race. So it may not be working for Furore Racing GP yet, but you never know. Give it another 10 laps, it might.
The tyres have popped.
Yeah, the thing is, there just isn't enough of a dry line. I mean, it's a gamble he's gone for, but I don't think it's a gamble that's really going to pay off at this point in the race.
It'll be interesting to see when they do pits.
Well, it will be. I mean, these intermediate tyres, you should get a good healthy 10, perhaps 15 laps out of them if you're not burning them up. But it's knowing when that crossover point is. I mean, from our point of view at the moment, there just isn't enough of a dry line to
pressure by Maibad and Richard Davey.
So for a Racing GP then, has he been overtaken by Maibad and being attacked by Richie? So the guys on the intermediate tyres are attacking him, so it really hasn't worked. The problem for him now though is if he actually goes and pits, it's a double stop over these guys. He's going to be miles behind. Whereas if he's probably sat there thinking, if I just keep going, they're all going to have to pit at some point. But Maibad and Richie Davey are getting a little bit close. Now, Richie will probably want Jim to just get out of his way. But to be fair, they're racing for position. So, Richie, if you want to get past, you're going to have to overtake him. So what, Ray, you keep an eye on the leaders for the moment. See if any of them decide to go and chuck it into the pits as we see if Richie's going to be able to get past Maibad here without any damage to the cars. Last week they did have a bit of a coming together, ended up with both of them losing their front wing. And obviously at the start of this race it looks like a similar thing may have happened. Oh, Richie's very, very late on the brakes. He's given Maibad a little bit of a nudge there. It looks like he's now been able to get ahead, but I don't know if the driver behind is going to be thinking, a little bit harsh. Oh, Maibad, he's gone for the pits, but he's in the gravel. I tell you what, that looks like it could be, I was going to say a retirement, but the car's moving. I do think that may be a bit of a retirement there. He definitely got a bit of a nudge from the car behind though. But Hindle, he's still leading this race with Hybrid Nuke right up his gearbox in second place. And if DRS is active, which it is, Hindle's going defensive. So although they're teammates, they are now into it's time to fight your position. They've got a gap over third place, so they can fight all they want, but you know the rule. Do not take out your teammate. Now Hybrid Nuke, he managed to just about get himself ahead here, but Hindle's going to have the inside line for the final corner. So as they go round it side by side, just about Hybrid Nuke gets ahead, but he may find out he's just gifted Hindle the DRS, and Hybrid's kind of say, oh, he's closing him off. Ooh, that's fighting talk from the Williams pair in here. Hindle keeping a tight line. He's going to take first place back. The Hybrid Nuke's having none of it. He's going to retake the position. Oh, sideways out of the corner, nearly collecting his teammate. I can hear you giggling, Ray. What you got for us?
Nothing, I'm watching this and it's a nice bit of racing.
It is. It's a good bit of racing. I mean, we heard rumours that they might try and pull away, and once they've got a bit of a gap, they'll be then free to fight. It's not a bad tactic to use with your teammate. So, I mean, it's worked for them. What'll be interesting now, though, is whether Hindle can actually stay on the back of Hybrid Nuke here, because now he's ahead. He looks like he's pulling away. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hindle's perhaps burnt up his tyres a little bit in trying to set the pace at the start of this race.
I think Steve's got a rear puncture, I'm not too sure. It looked at it in my screen, but just away into the pits, he's pitting.
Andy Russell. I think Andy Russell has either had an accident, and I don't mean of the unfortunate number 1 or number 2 kind. He's either had an accident or he's pitted, because he was fighting with Dave the Harp in 5th and 6th place, but he's now down in 10th. So I'm going to guess that he has pitted recently, and he's got another set of intermediate tyres on. And Dave the Harp and Farfber in 5th and 6th. Fair gap between themselves and 7th place.
My badge went on the dry tyres.
Oh, see, now I do
And
still.
Steve's went back to the intermediates.
Oh, now Dave the Harp, he has just chucked it into the pit lane. So let's go and see what Dave's going to change to. I mean, that's interesting if my bad's gone to the dry tyre and from a Racing GP's gone back to the intermediates. But what's
It's
Dave the Harp going to do? Dave the Harp's going intermediate tyres. I mean, it does like it could have got a little bit wetter. We've got another car in the pits. That's a McLaren of Millstar. He's going for another set of intermediate tyres as well. So that gamble on the soft tyres or the dry tyres has just not worked for Front Row Racing GP. Hindle, he's pitted. He's come out on a new set of intermediate tyres in 5th place. He's got Farfber ahead of him and Adam 4600 behind.
With Dave the Harp right beside him, they're going for another pit. And he's got it done. Yep, he's got it done.
So Dave the Harp comes out of the pits then and takes the position on Adam 4600. Well, I'm interested to see whether Hybrid Nuke is going to do exactly what his teammates just done and chuck it into the pits, or whether he's now using up whatever grip is left in his tyres. Second place Acorn, still visible just about. Is Hybrid... I would say with that kind of tank slapper, I reckon he will be heading into the pit soon. But, I mean, if you're right... Oh, no, he's going on for another lap. If you're right, Ray, and it is getting wetter... Oh, my bad's moved out of the way. I think he's heading for the pits. Acorn's into the pits. No, my bad's continuing on. Yeah, if you're right and it's getting wetter, we could see drivers possibly going for full wet soon. But Acorn is into the pits now.
I thought he had a set of blue tails sitting there. It was just the way his car came in with the mechanic's uniform.
All right. Well, it is a set of intermediate tyres for him. At the moment, he's going to be coming out in 3rd place. Now, has he made any kind of gain on Hindle? No, he hasn't. Hindle is still ahead. Charlie, he's coming out of the pits now with Farfber right behind him. So 4th and 5th have pitted. And here comes Dave the Harp right into the middle of them. He's had an extra lap on these tyres. So he's got an idea of what they're going to be capable of. Whereas the other two, they've just out of the pits. So Dave's going to want to try and keep hold of this position if he can, as he's side by side with Farfber as they make their way down to turn 6. And Paul's got the inside line. Dave's hard on the brakes, but so is Paul. He's gone deep. That's going to give Dave a chance up the inside. But Paul's now going to have the inside line for the next corner. I don't think he's going to be able to hang it in around there, though. Dave's going to try and hold it around the outside. Manages to do it. So it's 5th place for Dave at the moment. But Paul's coming back around the outside of him. Now he's got the inside line for the next corner. Dave's going to have to... Oh, a little bit of contact. A little bit of contact. I would worry about that. At this moment, though, Charlie's probably sat there going, go on, knock each other off, go on, knock each other off. And we can see in the background Andy Russell and Millstar not too far behind these guys. Not too far at all. Now, if DRS was denabled not so long ago, I would not be surprised if it has been disabled fairly soon. We'll see what happens with Dave the Harp as he is behind Paul. I think he has, excuse me, got DRS. No, he hasn't. He's just trying to do it with sheer straight line speed in his car. He's up the inside. It's going to get tricky. And he's back ahead. Oh, Paul goes sideways. Now Dave's going to have a little bit of a breather for a moment, but not for long, because I think this battle's going to continue on all the way up to turn 1. As the car's behind, not really close enough for a battle, but they're closing in on these guys as Dave goes defensive. And Paul's going to have to try around the outside. He's got ahead. He's managed it. Can he get it tucked in for 2? He can. Much better on the brakes around the first corner. So retakes the position. Now, has Hybrid Nuke pitted? I don't think he has. Hindle is 18 seconds behind him. No, Hybrid Nuke has not pitted. I reckon he will be fairly soon. Either that or he's going to be thinking, OK, let's just go another 3 laps and perhaps try and do a one-stop intermediate race. Well, go on.
I'll try to read the message. Somebody's asking if who is it? Hybrid Nuke use traction control. He says he doesn't use traction control and doesn't get as much wheel spin as him. Do traction control units get more wheel spin? No, I wouldn't think so.
No. Traction control users don't get anywhere near as much wheel spin as a traction control non-user, simply because your traction control will kick in and cut out the wheel spin, although in wet conditions you can still lose the rear a bit, but if you haven't got TC on, no, you will get a hell of a lot more wheel spin than someone that has got TC on. David Harvey's trying to battle back on Farf, but not quite close enough. Andy Russell, he's nearly being overtaken by Millstar. That's allowing MyBad to catch up, but MyBad is, I think, a lap down. We've not seen Nightwalker for a while, so let's see how he's getting on. Currently in 11th place with Richie Davey ahead of him. Adam 4600 not too far behind him. So as he's making his way around the hairpin, he's looking nice and stable in that car. But where is Front Row Racing GP? He's not going to be happy about being in 13th place. That gamble for those dry tyres just hasn't worked for him at all. It'd have been much better off staying on the intermediates and just seeing how the race panned out. He's in 10th place. He's had to recover from get a little bit of front wing damage early on. And he's got Ant 69 not that far ahead of him. We may see Rich in the background. Yep, there he is. So there's Rich's target of Ant 69 here. And ahead of Ant is Millstar, and he is attacking Andy Russell. He's giving him a good going, or a good going over.
Yeah, I've been watching these two. He's getting closer and closer, so there'll be a wee bit more side-by-side action. But yeah, there's Dave the Heart. So, he's drew back a bit. Okay, fell back a bit.
I tell you what's going to frustrate. Sorry, I tell you what's going to frustrate MyBad here is he's got Millstar and Andy Russell ahead of him, and MyBad is catching them. So MyBad's going to be sat there thinking, without whatever happened in that early lap, he'd have been much better off in this race than he is right now. Much better off. Okay, you said that Dave the Harp's dropped off the back of Farfbert. You were right, he has. And Farfbert, he can see the car ahead. It's Charlie. Go on, oh, in the background, Mercedes, Dave the Harp, he's off. He's off. That's the front wing gone. He's going to have to... Excuse me. I would not be surprised. Sorry, I would not be surprised if he got on the curb there and lost it. Dan Evs did exactly the same thing in front of me last night, but that means Dave the Harp's got a whole lap to do. No front wing on the car. And what you was about to say something about Andy Russell.
He was wiggling all just before that last corner. He was wiggling all over the place. I think it's getting wetter. I think we might see full wet soon.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, with Andy Russell, big sideways. That's the curb that ruined my race yesterday. Andy, you're a lucky boy. That's the advantage. If he's got traction control on, that's the advantage it has. He didn't end up in the wall. Anyway, Andy Russell, he's under a lot of pressure from Millstar here. I tell you what, you keep an eye on this, Ray. I just want to have a quick look at what's happening.
Millstar's got a good run. He's coming down. Sorry,
Hybrid Nuke, he's in the pits. Okay, let's get back on board with Millstar then. Up the inside.
Is he going to be able to hold it round this corner?
If the camera changes, I'll let you know. He is ahead, but Andy's fighting back. Andy must be, I was going to say he must be wide, but I think he's had to back out of it a bit. He's about to be unlapped by MyBad, who is going to find himself in a little bit of a tricky situation. He's been catching these guys. He seems to be faster than these guys. So if he can overtake and pull away, he'll be all right. But if he can't pull away, he's going to get blue flagged and get penalties, which will be very frustrating. But it's a situation that, in a way, he's kind of got to go for it. He's faster than these guys, or has a big wiggle. Just about manages to keep it facing the right direction. Now, Hybrid Nuke has made a pit stop. That's put Acorn up into second place, Hindle up into first. And I just heard what sounded like a lot of tyre squealing coming from Acorn's car. I'm wondering whether he's not overly happy with that at the moment, with his car or setup. The dry line is appearing again, Ray. I think we may be going to a slightly drier circuit. And Hybrid Nuke has just pitted, but he's come out right behind what is now second place, Acorn. But look at that, there's a dry line. There's a dry line appearing. And if these guys have to pit very, very soon for a set of dry tyres, that could have cost Hybrid the win here.
I don't know, they're sliding about quite a lot. There's another car, that was Charlie.
Well, they could be sliding about, but the thing with the wet tyres is they'll slide about a bit in the wet, but you'll have a bit of grip. If the track does begin to dry up and your intermediate tyres are worn a little bit, your car will slide about a lot. Oh, okay, Hindle, he's into the pits. I reckon this will be for another set of intermediate tyres, though. I mean, I would say I think it's definitely not raining as hard as it was when it started raining harder. If you can get your head around it. He's going dry tyres! He's going dry tyres! He's gambling it. Now, is what going to happen to Formula Racing GP going to happen to Hindle, or is what happened to Dom last night going to happen to Hindle? Now, he's gone prime tyre, so I reckon it's on that cusp, and that means that Hybrid Nuke, who has pitted only the once, he's back in the lead, but he's on the intermediate tyre. He only pitted a lap or two ago. He's going to have to pit again. Hindle has got Farfber behind him in third place, so let's see how Hindle gets on. The pits are busy, are they? Who have we got in there? Millstar's not, Charlie's not, Andy Russell is. What's he on?
My bad, son. Who else was on? Oh, I can't see who went through it.
I think that Ferrari's on dry tyres. I think this Sauber may be on dry tyres.
Ant's on dry tyres.
No, Andy Russell's gone intermediates. Sorry, Andy Russell's gone intermediates. So Charlie's gone for the dries as well then. Oh, this is going to mix up this race. Well, Dave the Hart. Well, he had to pit 3 or 4 laps ago though, didn't he? He crashed, lost his front wing, had no choice. So he may find himself heading into the pits again fairly soon. Ant 69, he's on dry tyres in 11th place. Richie Davey, I think, has just passed him on intermediate tyres. So it's on that sort of... I don't think it's really dry tyre time yet. The leaders is where it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on it, because Hindle, he's now down into third. Farfber's up to second on the intermediate tyre. Hybrid Nuke has continued on the intermediate tyre. The Inters are the right tyre to be on.
Overtake on Acorn and the intermediate tyres.
So the Inters are the better tyre at the moment. Those guys that have gone for the dry tyre, it's a little bit too soon, I'm afraid. It might not work for you. Their only gain may be that it is going to dry up quick, and these guys on the Inters are going to have to pit, and they may be behind them. But I said it would mix it all up. So that's Acorn. I mean, he's lost a position. Hindle's lost position. Charlie, he's in 6th. He's on the option tyre. Nightwalker's up to 7th. He's still running intermediates. Andy Russell's in 8th. He's on intermediates. Adam 4600 is in 9th. He's on intermediates. Richie Davey, we know he's on inters. I want to see what tyres My Bad's on. My Bad's on the options. He's in a blue flag situation anyway, but Adam 4600's all over the back of him on the inters, and you can see he's just got so much more grip. Well, My Bad's going to need to let these guys go. He's in a blue flag situation. Richie Davies going to be able to get ahead now, and he's still on the intermediate tyre as well. So the slick tyres not working at all. From a Racing GP, he's still on intermediates, and he's right behind Dave the Harp. So Dave having his crash has given GP someone to race. But with those guys going on to the dry tyres, these guys could find themselves catching them up hand over fist right now. Okay, let's try and get back up to the lead. Hindle still in third. Hybrid Nuke, he's into the pits. He's not pitted that long ago. He's got to be going for the dry tyre now. But Farfba, he's in second place. He's going for the pits. So maybe it is now time for the dry tyre. Oh, but I think that's going to put Hindle... Is he going to put Hindle up into first place? Hybrid Nuke is only just coming out of the pits now, but he's gone for the prime tyre. So that is going to put Hindle up into the lead. So, swaps and changes all over the place.
Farfba just went for the prime tyres.
Now the prime tyres from this point, they'll make it to the end of the race. They won't be as fast as the options, but the options, they won't make it to the end. Now Paul staying on those intermediate tyres, he's been able to jump Charlie by quite some distance. Millstar's now in the pits for a set of option tyres. Andy Russell's heading down the start-finish straight on a set of Inters, and he finished last week's race on a set of Inters when it was a completely dry track. Now, from a Racing GP and Dave the Harp, they've managed to separate a little bit. But I think Richie Davey, he's just got ahead of the other Ferrari, who's still in a blue flag situation. But that must mean then that MyBad managed to get back ahead of Richie, I think. So his dry tyres now beginning to perhaps work a little better for him. But the battle's on now. Hybrid Nuke is giving up the lead with what I would effectively call perhaps an additional pit stop. Because of how close his pit stops were together. But he's now 3.5 seconds behind his teammate. But his teammate's going to have to pit again. Hindle needs to get a shift on. And Hybrid Nuke, he's trying to get some temperature into these tyres. So even though he's gone onto the dry tyres, they're not coming up to temperature.
No, I've just seen the two Saubers still on Inters, so...
Well, maybe they're just trying to gamble it. I mean, well, either they're trying to gamble it or they're trying to get to a certain lap so they can take perhaps a set of prime tyres to the end or gamble a set of options to the end. But we have got most of the leading group now all on the drier tyre. Some of them are probably going to have to pit again. Some aren't. Oh, Andy Russell, he's struggling now on these Inters. I reckon we're going to see him heading into the pits. Not yet, though. He's continued on for another lap.
Richie's gone in the pits, and that's why... No.
He's continuing on for another lap. I'm surprised by that. Richie usually makes fairly decent calls in wet conditions when it comes to his tyres, apart from Austria last season, when it was 3 different compounds of tyres in 3 laps, consecutive laps. But anyway, Ant 69 in 9th place. And he's got his teammate, Adam 4600, right behind him. And Adam, he's running the intermediate tyres still. Is Ant...
Racing GP's on the pit, so he'd be going for the probably dry tyres now.
I would guess so.
Should have went.
Yeah. I mean, his gamble to go for him early on, it was a brave one. It just did not work out. But he has now gone for a set of prime tyres. They'll see him to the end of the race, but... He may need a little bit of a miracle here just to get into the pit, into the points.
Dave the Harp just passed them in the pits.
Farfba and Charlie, they're battling. And now Charlie has been catching Paul. Charlie's on the option tyre. DRS wide open, making the move into the hairpin. Manages to just about get ahead. Problem for Charlie, though. He's going to have to pit again. His tyres won't make it to the end. Oh, and he's got a little bit of lag going on for him there. Now, as I mentioned early on, posts the fastest lap of the race. I did mention earlier on that Charlie has got a new recording device on his car. Basically, what I mean is he's streaming his first race, so a little bit of lag. I'm not overly surprised by it. It's not as bad as Adam 4600's was in Australia, but we can always see if we can help Charlie out, improving that connection. One thing you could do, Charlie, is if you're watching the live stream while also live streaming, turn the live stream off. But Hindle leading the race now from Hybrid Nuke, who is 8 seconds behind. Oh, I'll tell you what, Hindle will be pitting in a few laps' time, and it's going to be close. It's going to be a fight for the victory, you know. Acorn, he's on the prime tyre. He's not going to have to stop again. If Hindle pitted now, he would come out behind Acorn. If he continues on for another 2 or 3 laps, he could come out ahead of Acorn on brand new tyres. Charlie's pulling away from Farfber. Millstar is all on his own. Andy Russell appears to be all on his own. Ant 69 is now as well. Nightwalker's now up to 9th on the prime tyre, so his teammates finally come off those intermediates. Richie Davey is in 10th as Hindle posts the fastest lap of the race now with a 1:42. Richie Davey, I'm fairly sure I've just seen him on a set of prime tyres. He's pitted recently to put those primes on. Adam 4600, he's come out the pits. He's changed his tyres, I think, but he's got Dave the Harp right behind him. And Dave's got from a Racing GP not that far behind him either. So a bit of a battle going on to try and take any final points that may be able to, if anybody has a disastrous last 9 laps of the race. As Millstar now posts the fastest lap of the race. It's definitely getting drier. These lap times could tumble depending on what tyres the drivers are on. So, Ray, any information from the pit walls? Any messages that are perhaps worth mentioning?
No, nothing from pit wall, but somebody's asking who do you think's going to win?
Hindle. At this point, Hindle is in position to win. Oh, excuse me. I just tripped myself up and ripped my microphone off my head. I'm definitely not going to win. I may win a Jeremy Beadle contest for that moment, but no, Hindle is in position to win this race because he's on the option tyre. He's built a gap. He's going to have to pit again, but he's going to be on the option tyre when Hybrid Nuke is going to be on slightly worn primes. Hindle's going to have to time it absolutely perfectly for his option tyres not to completely collapse at the end of the race. But as we can see, he's okay on them at the moment. He's not needing to pit just yet, but I reckon lap 22, maybe 23, we'll see him in the pits. The gap between him and Hybrid Nuke is 10 seconds. And to be honest, the sooner Hindle does it, the better, because Hybrid Nuke's tyres, they're not really going to drop off. So if Hindle does pit, he's going to come out 10 seconds behind. If Hindle doesn't pit, he's going to puncture his tyres.
Yeah, and Dave the Harp's got ahead of Adam 4600, but now he's backing into Front Row Racing GP, so it looks like he'll be losing another place if they're both on prime tyres, but he's losing a lot of time. Well,
the drivers around him have been on the slick tyres in these slippery conditions a little bit longer, so they'll know what the car's going to do. Oh, he's off! Well, he's definitely behind him now. For a Racing GP, would have had a good view of that one. Ant 69, he's into the pits. Option tyres coming off, option tyres going on. So he's got 7 laps to do on those tyres. Acorn 95. Oh, he's still on.
Taking about a second to 2 seconds a lap out of Hybrid Nuke, so he's getting that gap.
Well, he's getting the gap, but his tyres won't last, as from a Racing GP on prime tyres posts the fastest lap of the race. There we go then, Hindle into the pits. Go on then, Ray, take us through his stop.
The computer does this for you.
I didn't mean that. Tell us what tyres he's on. Options off.
Hybrid put in the fastest lap
on a set of prime tyres, but now Hindle is on fast tyres on a drying track. He's got 6 laps to go and catch Hybrid Nuke. Acorn Acorn's pitted. He's seen what's been going on. He's got rid of his prime tyres, put a set of options on. He's missed a trick here. Charlie, he's pitted, options off, options on. Richie Davies continued on. Farfber, though, he's in the pits. Prime's off, options on. Oh, this could bring a few of the drivers that are on prime tyres a little further down the grid into this race a little bit. Or maybe not. They might just be a little too far back. We've got 7th Richie Davey, sideways 8th Andy Russell and 9th Nightwalker, all close together on the circuit as they approach the final corners. Looks like they're all going on. Yeah, they're not going to be pit stopping. Millstar, though, he's got himself up to 3rd place, but he's going to have to stop again. He's on the option tyre. Okay. Hindle's pitted, is 6 seconds behind. 9 seconds behind, it's just changed. Game on.
Dave the Harp, fastest lap. There's going to just plummet into it. What was last night's a 1:36 the race time? Fastest lap, so
I think there's
still a few seconds to come down.
Yeah, fastest lap was a 1:36.3, I think.
Yeah, by Batman to 1.
Yep, 2:1:12. Yep, got a 1:36.3. So these guys could potentially get themselves down into the 37s. Hindle, I reckon, on his option tyres, he's going to go and smash the current fastest lap in this race. He needs to. Okay, we've got Farfber in 6th, just behind Charlie in 5th. Acorn's not that far ahead in 4th place. Millstar now into the pits. Yep, so he'll be going to put on a new set of option tyres. Now Hindle's 8 seconds behind. What would be really interesting now is if we just had another mass downpour.
Yeah.
Okay, the time's coming down from Hindle to Hybrid Nuke, and Hybrid Nuke knows this is crucial now. This is crucial. He needs phenomenal lap after phenomenal lap, otherwise Hindle is going to catch him. Hindle needs exactly the same to catch him, but he needs to make sure he doesn't burn out his tyres. That's the risk. Acorn 95, I don't think he's got a chance of catching them. Charlie's going to have to be careful of Paul behind him. Now Millstar's come out of the pits in 6th place, and Richie Davey not close enough to attack in 7th. Andy Russell's in 8th, not far behind his teammate. And 69 though in 9th place. He's got Dave the Harp right behind him, and we saw Dave the Harp putting a fast lap in recently. So Dave's on primes, needs to try and catch this option clad Red Bull to try and steal an additional point. Front Row Racing GP needs to try and catch them both. Hybrid Nuke now goes and posts a 1:39.9. That's on the prime tyres, but there we go. Hindle goes and pops in a 1:37. Yeah, the gap is now down to... Well, the gap's down to 6 seconds, yeah. And if you can gain 3 seconds a lap, he's going to have him. Ooh.
It's something like Jaws, isn't it?
Now, I would get a clip of that music, but you know what? It's actually copyrighted. You get into trouble. Yeah, you get into trouble if you use the Jaws music. So yeah. But Hindle, he's definitely closing that gap. He's got to push it. And considering the races he's had recently, for his own title chances, he could really do with going and beating Hybrid Nuke here. And surprisingly, Front Row Racing GP could do with Hindle beating Hybrid Nuke here, because Hybrid Nuke is 2nd in the standings. Front Row Racing GP's leading it, and at the moment isn't going to score a point.
It's nearly a second a sector he's catching him. We're down to 4.8 from 6.4.
I tell you what, we've got Farfber starting to apply some pressure to Charlie, but I tell you what, I'm hearing in my ear, it almost sounds like the rain may be beginning to fall a little bit heavier. Just sounds like it's hitting the commentary box a little bit harder as Farfber, I'll say that, but here it looks like it's not raining much at all. Farfber now is in DRS range. I reckon we're going to be seeing a move being made here. Charlie looking at going defensive, making Paul go the long way around the outside into the hairpin. Not making it easy for him. Charlie manages to stay ahead. Who's got the better traction? Neither of them really. They're about matched. But Paul's going to get DRS again, giving him the chance up into turn 1. Now, I'm guessing you're still keeping an eye on that gap up at the front, Ray. Oh, Paul's just giving Charlie a little bit of a nudge.
3 seconds.
3 seconds. He's going to be right over the back of him any moment. So let's go and have a look then. They've got 3 laps to go. They're both in the same camera shot. Hybrid's going to have to fight this. He's probably going to have to fight it hard as well, or simply realise he can't do it. I mean, what would you do in this situation, Ray? It's your teammate. He's on the faster tyre. Are you going to fight him for the win? Or are you going to not make it easy for him, but accept that there's not a lot you can do?
No, I'd fight for the win. I'd keep going. Oh, Charlie's went wide, and that's allowed Faber through.
Charlie's still fighting it back, though. He's not giving it up easy. Charlie's going to have DRS, but he's also going to have a Marussia on the front of his car. Now, you keep an eye on that one, Ray, because this gap, it's down to a minimal amount. There's not a lot in it. 1.7 seconds, so not close enough for DRS. But by the end of this lap, he's either already going to be ahead, or at least he's going to be able to attack. And the only thing
Paul's having to go defensive, making Charlie go a long way round. Oh, that was quite close there. Charlie's had to. Charlie smacked the back of Paul. Paul's kept it going. Charlie, I think it's a bit of lag that's causing that.
It could
Charlie
be.
Seems to have a wee bit of jump there.
But this is where Paul now needs to try and break that gap, because if Charlie's car's going to do any kind of Adam 4600, we've got the battle for the front, the battle for the lead, it's on. Hindle's already all over the back of him, trying to position his car to overtake. Ooh. I think we're going to be seeing a DRS move made. He's in position to do it.
And Charlie's waiting for him. I don't know if that was a contact.
It might have been. If Charlie's waiting for him, then he'll more than likely think that he had something to do with it. But Hindle now, within DRS range, is closing. Hybrid, he's going defensive, taking the inside line. Oh, Hindle's not giving him a lot of room, but he's ran wide. He's ahead, but not for long. Hybrid Nuke's still next to him. They're going to have to be careful around this final corner as Hindle opts not to go for the move into there. He's got the DRS now as they make their way up towards the first corner. Hybrid's making him go the long way around the outside, and he's ahead. So, a lap and 9/10 to go, but Hybrid Nuke's not giving it up, and he can't afford to do so. If he can stay close and stick within DRS range, he may have half a chance of fighting back, but Hindle's already going defensive as though to say, no, you're not doing it, it's not happening.
There's a wee battle going on for 9th, 10th and 11th. Dave the Hart, Front Row Racing GP, and I think it was
Adam 46. Ant 69. So Front Row Racing GP then has managed to get ahead of Ant 69, get himself into the points. He's now on a charge to try and catch Dave the Harp, who's in 9th place, to steal another point. So I think he's perhaps within DRS range. We may have a bit of an attack going on. Not quite close enough just yet, but closing in, which means may get DRS after the final corner. We'll see if he's close enough to make any kind of move. Oh, he's had a much better line through the final corner there. DRS will definitely be open on this occasion. Looking up the inside, side by side. Now he's ahead. Is he going to be able to keep the position? Dave's pushing it as hard as he can around the outside. Oh, a little too hard. Loses the rear end a little bit. So that's from a Racing GP then up to 9th place. But I don't think that's just going to stay as it is. Well, interesting little battle there. Hindle starting the final lap of the race. Pulled out a nice little gap between himself and Hybrid Nuke. It's not quite up to a second, but by the time they get to the DRS detection, I reckon it will be. Acorn in third place has just not had an answer for these guys today. But I tell you what, Hindle's got some cars ahead of him. He's going to have to be careful of that one. Blue flag situations, and if it's the guys that are battling, they're really going to have to get out of the way, because that's a Red Bull. It could be Adam 4600. Whew. Well. This race has gone quite quick. I can't believe we're on the last lap of the race already. I don't think all the battles are done. I mean, Ray, if you want to keep an eye on what's happening further down the field as we watch these Williams make their way towards the final sector. And I tell you what, Hybrid Nuke may just be within DRS range. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to have one last attack. No, I don't think he is. Especially if Hindle manages to get a fairly healthy slipstream off that Red Bull. So it looks like, barring any drama in the last two corners, that Hindle is going to take victory here in China. I mean, one thing we don't know either is that whether any of the drivers have received any in-race penalties at the moment. Adam 4600 getting well out of the way, kind of. Yep, Hybrid's too far behind. So Hindle then round the final corner called his strategy very, very nicely to take victory in China, followed by his teammate in second place. In third place will be Acorn 95. If it's actually going to let me go and have a look at him, it's not. It's only going to let me go and have a look. Oh no, there we go. Now it's letting me. So Acorn 95, he's going to cross the line in third position. In fourth we have Farfper, but he's just gone very deep at the hairpin. I think he's safe from the attacking McLaren of Charlie. So fourth place for Paul then. That's a good result for him. And also a good result for Charlie if he's still in fifth place, which he is as he comes around the final corner there. So fifth place it'll be for him. And his reserve driving teammate in sixth place, right behind him as well. Now, Andy Russell, he's in eighth. And I think he's fairly safe in that position at the moment, depending on in-race penalties anyway. So Andy Russell's in eighth. Front Row Racing GP is in ninth. So Andy Russell then, he is going to cross the line in eighth place for the time being. I don't think Dave's going to be able to attack to try and take that extra point. No, he's not. So it looks like Front Row Racing GP, after a disastrous pit stop really early on, took a gamble that's not paid off, gets himself back to ninth place with Dave the Harp in 10th.
Mike Walker's out of petrol, it looks like. He's jiddering a bit.
Quite possibly. May have gone a little bit rich, but unfortunately for him, 12th place it'll be for Nightwalker. And I think it was Ant69 in 11th. And we've got both Williams and a Mercedes. Hindle taking the victory in China with a great race there. Hybrid Nuke, I think he'll be disappointed. He will be disappointed. He did a pit stop less and still got beat. And Acorn 95, I think he'll go away from this race thinking, okay, I'm going to have to up my game because I just got whipped. So, quick look at the timing screen then, and only one penalty. Kind of surprising that. I bet the race director's full though. So, but Hindle, as we said, first, second Hybrid, third Acorn, fourth Charlie, fifth Farfber, sixth Millstar, seventh Richie Davey, eighth was Andy Russell, ninth was Front Row Racing GP, 10th Dave the Harp, 11th Ant69, 12th Nightwalker, for 13th Adam 4600 and 14th My Bad 66. The early collision putting a dent on his race. Are we all ready for the quick shock? So let's have a quick scroll down here. Quite long, but nowhere near as bad as I was expecting. Okay, 7 seconds left to just quickly go and have one last look at the timing screen then. Ray, your thoughts on that race there?
It's very interesting. I'm sure GP will be killing himself for trying it that early.
I think you may be right there. Hindle, though, he's going to be absolutely buzzing about the way he worked his strategy at the end of the race, going for the option. So if you'd like to do the honours of sending the invites, the podium interview invites, to Hindle Hybrid Nuke and to Acorn 95.
I can't, because you're the person to invite.
That is very, very true. Bear with me a second, people. The race is over, so I don't mind going into the blue room. Okay, Acorn 95. Hybrid Nuke and Hindle. Okay, so they've now been invited in for the podium interview, so we'll get a word from those drivers in a moment. Now, driver of the day, we'll hold off making a decision on driver of the day, because what we wouldn't want to do is give a driver of the day and then that person end up getting a ton of penalties and ending up not getting the race. And the race result is a provisional one until confirmed at a later date. So Acorn 95 has joined us in the podium room, as has Hybrid Nuke and Hindle. So guys, if you'd just like to take a breather, just make sure that you've got your microphone set to share, grab a towel, dry your hair, do what Hamilton should do as well and give his arse a bit of a rub with the towel, because he always looks like he's wet himself.
Or throw a cap.
Or throw a cap, yeah. Not cat. We don't want to hit meow. Okay, so on to Hindle then, taking the race victory here in China. I've got to say, in the previous two races, you've started from the back, you started from the front, lost a wing, race hasn't gone well, finished fourth. This week, started on pole, didn't lose the front wing, went on to win the race. Was it ever in doubt?
Yes, a lot of times actually throughout that race, I was like, I'm going to win, and I thought, I've made the wrong decision, I'm not going to win, and then I thought, actually, I'm going to win. Just back and forth, back and forth.
So what was you thinking when you pitted for another set of intermediate tyres, I think? What were you thinking when your teammate didn't? He just carried on?
Well, I knew straight away that he was going for straight away, because I told him I was behind him. My inters were absolutely shredded, and I said to him, if you're not going to pick this lap, I'm going to go in. He said, right. And then I picked for him to started going around catching him, as you would expect on fresh tyres. And then he says, I'm going to stretch this out to a one stop, and I thought, oh, for God's sake, I'm going to put his finger out.
So how much was you laughing then when he realised he pitted, put another set of inters on, and then had to soon after to put a set of dries on?
Well, when he pitted, I seen him, and as I drove past him, I said, what tyres have you just put on? And he said, inters, and I thought, I don't believe it. I said, I feel so sorry for you. I said, why? I said, it's drying up. I said, dry tyres, but he was absolutely gutted. I mean, all the way through that first stint, I was saying, you've done an absolute brilliant job getting this to a one stop. And then the rain eased up.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting from the commentary booth, because it looked like the rain on about lap 3, lap 4 was easing up, then it got heavier, then it eased up, then it got a little heavier, then it really eased up. So very tricky conditions. Okay, on to the last stint of the race. Obviously, you'd have known that he's put the prime tyre on. You've gone for the options. You know you've got an additional stop to do. Did it at any point cross your mind to go with those prime tyres? Or was it, no, I'm going with the options, we're going to go fast, I'll stop again, I don't mind?
Well, I think I pitted on the end of lap 14, so I knew straight away the primes aren't going to last 13 laps. You probably get 12 absolute maximum out of the primes. So I knew I had to do option. I had a bit of a gap to hybrid anyway, so I knew it wouldn't be the full 20 seconds. It was about, I think it was 8 seconds.
Yeah.
When I come out for the second time.
Well, it worked. You managed to get him. So very well done. Great race. We'll go and move over now to your teammate if he's going to lift his head out of his hands. So then, what happened in your race?
Oh, mate. It was one of those races, when you just... It's no longer driving. It's just math. All you're doing is thinking of numbers. What gear you're in, what lap times you're doing. You know, how's this going to affect the championship, the constructors, Oh, my brain's fried.
Well, here's a question for the both of you. Did you know that a driver pitted early for dry tyres and it didn't work?
Yes, Hendo said to me, I can't remember what lap it was, but he said, GP's pitted for dries, and I went, you what? Yeah. And then we carried on for a number of laps.
We were having a little conversation between ourselves. We thought, dry tyres? There's no way it's getting wetter.
And then we're second guessing ourselves, going, oh, hold on. No. Yeah, no.
Well, it didn't work for him. Interestingly, though, he put inters on, someone else pitted and put dries on. So it was very confusing. It even got confusing when it was getting to that sort of, okay, is it dry now? Because a few people put the dry tyre on. I mean, Hindle, you was one of them, as was Acorn. Pitted, put a dry tyre on, but was then overtaken by cars on the intermediate tyres. So to all three of you, actually, at that point where you've pitted, put the dries on, you come out and cars are overtaking you on intermediate tyres, what are you thinking?
I was about to go for another lap, and as I hit the safety car line, it said DRS enabled, and to me, that is dry tyres. So I come out, and I knew straight away, as soon as I left the pits, this is the wrong time. I just lost the back end straight away. I was like, nah, the hybrid was telling me, please tell me if it's the right tyre, and I said, it's definitely not. And then faster, come steaming round the corner and just overtook me like I wasn't even there.
Yep. So Acorn, it happened to you as well. So what was you thinking at that point?
I have to say same as Hindle. It was as soon as the DRS became active, I thought that, well, I've got to go for dries really. So, and then the first couple of laps, maybe like 2 or 3, maybe, wasn't the right tyre. So just had to stick with it, keep calm, and then just go with a normal strategy.
It wasn't the right tyre, but within 2 laps it was, because hybrid. What's going through your mind? Your teammates just told you, no, it's not the right tyre, it's not the right tyre. You put the dry tyres on, he's ahead of you.
I mean, yeah.
Williams, was that along the lines of what you wanted to say?
Well, the funny thing was I pitted onto the inters, and then he goes, oh dude, I think it's drying up. And I was coming up to the hairpin and I went, oh dude, it's not even DRS enabled yet. And then clicked DRS enabled, and I just went, no, I've just pitted, please.
Yeah.
And then he's come out and I've gone, please, I know it's unfortunate, but is it the right time to be on? He goes, definitely not.
No, I mean, I think it's frustrating when that happens, isn't it? Because, I mean, that happened to me, I mentioned it in the commentary, it happened to me yesterday. It's all right, okay, these tyres probably do with changing. Oh, it's just said DRS disabled. Okay, yeah, let's definitely change them. Change them. Within a lap, DRS was enabled again. So, oh, great. Thank you very much. So, yeah, anyway, Hindle and hybrid, very well done there. We'll move on to Acorn now. Acorn, have you recorded your race?
That's a funny one, that, isn't it? That's a great one to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a bit of grief last week from Hindle and hybrid, I think there should be a new rule. They have to stay in mixed one all race for Bahrain at least.
Somehow I don't see. Hybrid might agree to that in the hope that Hindle will do it, but he won't. Anyway, so okay. Anyway, on to your race then. I think you started. Was it 3rd place? So you started behind the Williams pair. Early on, you may be able to see they're not really attacking each other. Was you just struggling to keep up with them at that time, or was it a bit of fuel saving, or was it I'll let them fight, see if I can gain if they mess it up?
Well, like I've always said, I mean, if there's a chance, I'm going to try and take it. But them two, they're in a league of their own there, so it's a bit like try to be best of the rest at the minute. But I think going back to Malaysia, I know it's playing hard on the strings at the minute, but I think it shows how good of a race I actually did back then.
Yeah.
But well, to them too, though, today.
Yeah, I mean, they did do very well today. I mean, something I spotted with your strategy, when it went dry, you put the prime tyre on. Was there ever... I mean, you put the prime tyre on and pitted again for options. Did you think about doing option, or was it just to put the primes on, see how we get on?
Yeah, exactly that. I thought put the primes on, hopefully. I mean, I don't really race a lot in China anyway, so I thought maybe it'll last me to end at race, but it said pit on lap 22 or something like that, 21. So I just played it safe.
Well, not a bad thing to do. You were safe from behind, and third place on the day it is. Okay, back to Hindle then for his final comments. Bahrain next. Is it going to be another pole and a win?
I don't know, because China and Bahrain are two tracks I really, really do not like. So it'll be an interesting one.
Well, your competitors are not going to like that. If you're winning on a track you don't like, they're not going to look forward to racing you on tracks that you do like. And I think on that point, it's probably a good time to say thank you very much to you three for joining us for the podium interviews. You're all now free to go and open your champagne, drown yourself in that and an attractive woman's bosom, if it's available to you. So crack on, guys. Well, that's what I'd do if I was on the podium in real life. And you got all those ladies there, and you're single. You've got to motorboat one of them at least, surely, haven't you? Okay.
Start me on the
Right, okay, you three are now free to make your way away from the podium interviews. So thank you very much, and well done to Hindle, Hybrid Nuke and Acorn. Very well done to all of the other drivers as well. Very tricky conditions there, very, very tricky conditions. Ray, do we have any comments from any other racers post-race? Perhaps anyone that's messaged you saying, oh, I've had a shocker there.
Just front row racing GP. Gambo didn't work. He needed extra front wing for it to work. So,
well, sometimes you gamble and win. Sometimes you gamble and lose. And unfortunately, that's what's happened today. Okay. I think on that, we are into the closing stages of our show for this evening. So next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be FRRI Days Cup. That'll be at Bahrain tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. FRRI Days being the feeder system into our F1 leagues. Next up for the World Series will be next Thursday, 7:30 p.m. for round 4 in China, where we'll see if the rest of the field can knock Hindle off his newfound podium position. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and we'll see you all again soon. Oh, and don't forget, you can always look us up on Facebook, Front Row Racing. That's where we post most of our information. Have a good one. See you all soon.
Bye.
That's the way you do that.